By default, PowerPoint handles bullets, margins, and tabs in an okay fashion. But there are times it just looks wrong. You have special needs, and then PowerPoint gets so confusing. Don't worry, I got you covered in this advanced deep dive into all things bullets, numbers, margins, and tabs. Stay tuned and get powered up. Hi, this is Les McCarter. If you came to better understand PowerPoint bullets, numbers, margins, and tabs, you're at the right place. We're going deep into this complex set of topics so that you can have the ability to take complete control of how your presentation looks. So buckle up and let's go and get powered up by bullets, margins, and tabs in PowerPoint. In this video, I will go back and forth between using PowerPoint presentation mode and then dropping into edit mode to illustrate how things work inside PowerPoint. I don't want you to just mimic keystrokes. Instead, I want you to understand why. So let's start with the anatomy of margins and tabs and how they interact with bullets. To get started, we need to turn on the ruler within PowerPoint, which is not shown by default. To do this, you go into the View menu and choose Ruler and make sure the check mark is on. We'll do this live in a few moments. Once turned on, the ruler bar shows up at the top of your slides when you're doing the editing in Standard View. Before we go too far, let's take a look at some of the individual elements that control the margins. Let's focus on the three icons: an upside down triangle, a right side up triangle, and a square. The upside down triangle controls the left margin of a paragraph's first line. The right side up triangle controls the left margin of all the remaining lines, line 2 and beyond. Drag either one of them on the ruler to change the margin independently. As we'll see in a moment, the square can be dragged to move both the triangles in unison. There is one more element to point out on the ruler bar. This icon represents one of 4 different kinds of tabs that you can insert into your ruler bar, depending on what's being shown. In this case, we have the left tab marker. In a moment, we'll see how you can toggle through the 4 different types of tab stops. But hold on, I'll get to that soon. Let's use this page to demonstrate what we just saw on the anatomy page. First off, this is how to toggle the ruler on and off. Go to the View menu, and there in the middle is the ruler on and off toggle box. See how it appears above the slide workspace when on and off and on. Next, observe how we don't see any of the margin and tab controls I just talked about. The reason is you need to be in the text control box. See how it shows up when in the text box and disappears when I click outside. The page we're working on is displaying a basic text box with no bullets or numbers. Those additional items will work slightly differently, which I will show on the following pages. Okay, let's move to this page. This is just a text box page, and you can see that inside this page, I've used the word tab highlighted in yellow to indicate where the tabs are on the page, since you can't visually see the tabs in this presentation. I'm going to click on the second paragraph and see the left margins line up. Let's change the first line to indent. I'm clicking on the top upside down triangle and moving it. See that it impacts only the first line? Now, let's move the following lines, as in not the first line, by clicking the lower right side up triangle and moving it around. Now, if I want to move the paragraphs in unison, I click and drag the bottom square. Look at paragraph number 3. The first line is indented, not because the margins are changed. See, they are both flush left, but because I added a tab key. Let me take it out from my keyboard with the backspace and put it back in. Now that you can see that it's there, let's add a tab stop to see where the word should begin. By default, PowerPoint has an automatic indent every 1 inch. But as soon as I add a defined tab stop, all the automatic tabs go away in front of the defined tab stop. The current tab format is left, aligned, see the L icon? And I just click inside the ruler to define the location. And then once added, we can drag it around to change the location. And if we want to get rid of it, to delete, you just click and drag it off. Do note that the assigned tab stop is for that paragraph only that the cursor is on. It is not line by line, but paragraph by paragraph. Let's try this out. I'm going to select all of the lines. Once they're selected, I'm then going to go up to the tab icon that lets me choose between the 4 choices as I click on each time. I'm going to use the L so we can do a left align. With it highlighted, I then go over to the ruler area and I'm going to click on 1.5 and boom, everything shows up, getting rid of the preceding default tabs. Let's go in there and choose the upside down T, which is center. And we're going to drop this in. I'm going to try the 5, but since there's already a predefined one there, it's not going to work. Watch what happens when I go over to the 5.1. Boom, it shows up, everything's centered, and the preceding defaults disappear. Now we're going to go to the special one, the decimal, and we'll put this as our third one at the 9.5. Decimal is an unusual tab setting in that it lines things up based off the period. Let's add another line and add in 1,000 number and see how it actually starts to go off to the left. And then it stops once we hit the period and continues on there so that it lines up on that portion. We can do the same thing with a larger number, a million number, and you'll see the same item lining up on the decimal point. Now, let's try this out with bullets. First off, the Tab and Shift tab are special keyboard keys when in PowerPoint with bullets. With bullets turned on, the Tab key at the beginning of the line will change the bullet level, and Shift tab brings it back. There are formatting implications at each level. In my special design template, I have the bullet levels change colors. Wait, I'll show you that in a few moments in the Slide Master section. To see this tab and Shift tab, we can see it more visibly in the outline view. We're going to go to View, Outline View, and see the indents here, and the actions are reflected in the slide. Now, back to the normal view. Do note that once you're inside the paragraph, the tabs will work as before, moving a designated amount on the line. But this is very, very uncommon. Why would you want to add tabs inside of a bullet line? So now that we see how bullet outline levels operate, let's look at the margins on these particular pieces here. I'm going to go to bullet number 3. We'll try this out. Let's change the first line only. We'll indent it this time, and they'll grab all the other lines and we can move them back out and outdent. We can also grab them as a group and move them as a collection. Why do this? It may be that you want to tighten or loosen the spacing from your bullet points. See how that works? And yes, it's only on the line I have highlighted. Stay tuned for the master slide trick at the end to control the whole presentation. Numbers have a role in PowerPoint presentations. See our PowerPoint Masterclass Lesson 2, Editing PowerPoint for Content, for directions of when to use bullets and when to use numbered lists. There are real rules. But I am disappointed in how PowerPoint handles the complicated numbered lists. This is not as robust as Microsoft Word's awesome powers, but we can work with numbers in PowerPoint. The concept is exactly the same as bullets. It's just that PowerPoint readjusts the numbers with each collection of indents. I do have an issue with this particular design template. The number spacing looks bad. To learn more about design, see our PowerPoint Masterclass Lesson 3, Formatting PowerPoint for Effective Design. So let's fix the spacing with what we learned. The issue is that the first line margin does not line up with the previous section, and the second indent is too far away from the numbers, so we'll fix it. So what we'll do is we're going to select a specific bullet point, or in this case, number point, and change the margins to try to get the numbers a little closer and also to get the sub-numbered items lining up with the previous section here. In this case, I'm going to drag over 2 paragraphs and make the adjustment so that we can adjust 1 and 2 in unison. Still a little close, but it's better. Notice I'm going to have to go through and make some additional changes just to get it just right. At this point here, it is a very laborious process, but you can fix it. Before we go, I have one more gripe. The numbering is not clear. If I say pay attention to item number 1, which one would it be? Here, or here, or here? Let's do a quick fix and change the numbering for the secondary levels by going up to the numbering section. We'll make a capital A for the second layer. For the third layer, we'll do the bullet numbering again. In this case, we'll choose a lowercase a, so it is a little more clear of which item is which. Oh yeah, the numbers look a little out of whack, maybe a touch small. We can fix that, but you're going to have to wait for a few more slides for us to get to that solution. Tabs versus tables. In a plain text box, tabs are, in my opinion, just okay. But there is a better way. Let's do some fancy formatting. But before we get started, note the strangeness of the last line. The code doesn't quite line up. Why? When pressing the tab key, it takes you to the next default 1-inch separator. And since Joe's name is shorter than Managers and Amanda, the next default tab stop is the 5-inch mark, as opposed to the other 6-inch mark. That will be solved once we put in our specific tab stops. We're going to highlight all 3 lines and then left align at the 1.5-inch ruler mark. We'll do center aligned at the 4.5-inch mark, and then right align, click at the 9-inch mark. See how everything now lines up at all the default 1-inch prior tab stops have disappeared? This works, but there are issues. What if the branch location name is longer, such as adding in the country of United States of America? Yuck! We can do better. The solution should not come as a surprise, because look at the title, Tabs versus Tables. Yes, tables are better. To save time, I've already dropped in the table, but look how easy it is. What you do is you go up to Insert, you choose Tables, choose the dimensions you want the tables, and then it just drops right in. You can then go through and actually choose a format to give it a little extra attention. Cool. Let me go ahead and undo what we've done so we can get back to our table. Now, in the table, instead of tabs, I use paragraph alignment tools within each box or cell. I can highlight the particular cells that I want, and then I can go up to Home and choose the various alignments. Here's one for the branch location. Let's go ahead and select the Manager column. We'll go back and change the alignment there, and the same thing with code. That's pretty cool. The other slick thing that you can do is you can grab the whole table and move that to wherever you want it to fit on the slide, something not easily done with tabs. As you can see, if we go in and now add in the United States of America, it stays within that cell and our whole table continues to look consistent and great, which did not happen with tabs. As you can guess, Tables rock. Here are some of my hard-learned tips on bullet and numbered management. While you can do some changes to the bullet list by selecting new icons from the drop-down box, there are times that you need more control. Go to Bullets and Numbers. You have a list to choose from, and you could customize with wingding icons or even bring in a picture as your bullets, but be careful as it might look cheesy. But what I want to focus on is color. This is where you can change the bullet color, and it solves two potential problems. The first being that the bullets may not match the color of the rest of the slide. We saw this on our slide number 5. So this is where you go in and fix the problem to set the bullet color to match the text. The second issue is missing bullets. I get this question all the time. Why don't my bullets show up? The answer is that they are showing, but the bullets just happen to have the same color as the background and they're not visible. Come here and change the color for them to reappear. The other item to look at on this control is size. We saw on slide number 6 the small numbers, and I promise to show you how to fix that. And this is where you can fix it as long as you know where it is in which dialog box. So we'd go in here and change it from 80% to a larger number to make them stand out. Great. What about the margin? This is a touch more complex than the margins of a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. The reason is that there are multiple content boxes that each have unique margins that fit within the canvas size of our presentation. Look, here's our canvas size, and yes, there's a masterclass for that, the same lesson 3 that we referenced earlier about formatting PowerPoint for effective design. See the edge of the slide and how it matches the canvas width on the right? The canvas is for the full page, but within each slide, there are typically content boxes, and they have their own left and right margins once you click inside and see them displayed. See how the left and right margins line up on the ruler once we're inside the content box? Let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to escape out of the presentation. On this page, let's take a look at 2 separate text content boxes. I clicked on the first one, and you can see the size of the box and the matching margin on the ruler above. When I click on the one down below, it's a smaller box, and sure enough, there's the box and the smaller rule above. Let's take a look again. The bigger content box, click, and there's the margins. If I click outside, there's no margins because we're not in the content box, as we've just gone in right here. And one more, what about? What about spacing? We've learned about spacing within a paragraph by using margin controls. But what about between like bullet points? This is controlled via the paragraph dialog box. Highlight the paragraph or multiple paragraphs you want to change, then locate under the home menu the paragraph section. Click and expand the arrow icon, or right-click on the selected paragraph and choose paragraph. Here, you can control the spacing before and after each line. Simple enough once you know the controls exist and where to find them. This last tip is a doozy. Master slides. Here's the issue. Almost all the items we discussed are paragraph specific, meaning the changes are only on what is highlighted. And while you can highlight multiple items on a single slide, you can't go across slides. Making these adjustments can be a big pain for a large slide deck. The solution? Master slides. In this hidden view, you can make a single change, say to bullet list level number 2, and it flows through the whole presentation. It is awesome, but it does require a whole separate training session, which PowerUp Training can provide. But as a teaser, Let's change the second bullet point to a new color for the presentation. We'll start at slide number 5 and go for something radical. Let's do this. I'm going to go to the View menu. From there, you will find something called Slide Master, and this takes us into a magical location. I'm going to change the parent Slide Master. We're going to only affect the second level for all slides. We'll go to Home. We'll change the color so it stands out in a bright red. We'll also go in there and we're going to change the type of icon to a check mark. This once again will flow all the way through. And I need to also change it so the check mark is red, not blue. So we had to go back into bullets and number to do the advanced change. Now at this point, when I exit out of the Slide Master view, so we'll choose Slide Master again and close, you will see the red check marks have shown up on multiple slides and it actually flows through the whole presentation. This is totally cool, but you do need to see the advanced presentation on how to manage Slide Master. Wow, that was a lot to cover on what at first appeared to be just a small set of topics. Let me know how your new skills are working out in the comments below. If this was useful, please like the video. Likes encourages me to make more free training videos for you. And if this was your first time watching our unique Microsoft Office coaching sessions, then subscribe to our Power Up Training YouTube channel and explore our videos. If you want to become a PowerPoint power user, consider this free 6-part training series. Click here for a preview or click over here for the full training playlist. Subscribe and let my expertise become your expertise for free. Now, power up.